In this lesson, we are going to create the basic Texture Pabrika setup for our lantern material. And the first thing that we would need to do would be to delete this principal BSDF. We are going to replace that with a shader stack. Now what the shader stack is that it's a node group that allows us to stack shaders on top of each other, much like Blender's mixed shader node. But the great thing about being able to use Texture Pabrika to do this is that we can set a variable amount of inputs. So for example, we want a shader stack for 2, we can do that. A shader stack for 3, we can also do that. Shader stack for 5, we can also do that. But for our project, let's keep it simple and create a shader stack for 2. So let's click on shader stack and press G on our keyboard to move it around. And select both nodes and press F. Alright. Now, each time we click on a button in this section, we are creating a unique node group. Now, what that means is that we can go inside any one of these node groups that we've created, change some values over here if we want, and not have to worry if we're affecting any other node on our network. Now, we are also going to need a shader, which we are going to call painted metal. So let's press F2 on our keyboard and type in the name that we want. Now let's connect the output of this painted metal to input 0 of our shader stack. Alright. Now, as I've mentioned, this shader node group is what the exporter utility will need in order to export different textures. So let's say you have your own style of building your own node network. You can just think of this node as a principled BSDF. In fact, if we go inside, it's just a principled BSDF with a basic setup to allow Blender to interpret a normal map. Speaking of normal maps, let's connect our normal map. So let's head over to our data maps over here, and then let's connect the output of our normal map to our painted metal. So select painted metal, press F, and let's move this down here. Now to check if we have our setup working correctly, we can head over to our viewport over here and switch mode over to rendered. And let's also hide this lantern high since we're not going to use that anymore. And we can change this base color value just to see if that's working correctly. Now in the next lesson, we are going to need to tell Blender which surfaces should our shader affect, and to do that, we are going to talk a little bit about data map nodes, and we are going to use the indexer map.